I'm Rudy Gillane in the CapeCod.com News Center, and welcome to Sunday Journal. I'm joined today by a special guest from Champ Homes. Can you introduce yourself for our listeners?
Hi, I'm Adam Burnett, the Executive Director of Champ Homes in Hyannis.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me in studio
Thanks
today.
for having me.
We have a lot that we wanted to chat about, mostly involving some upcoming events that are going to be really exciting, a lot related to Earth Day. But before we got rolling, I just wanted to ask a little bit more about, for those who aren't familiar, what is Champ Homes? Can you tell us a little bit more about the services you provide and how it plays into helping the local community?
Sure. So Champ Homes has been around for over 30 years. We provide transitional housing to adults on Cape Cod that are faced with homelessness or on the brink of homelessness, and work with them to help establish goals and help them move forward back into independent, long-term, sustainable living. So we have a small campus over in Hyannis, over by the hospital, consisting of 4 buildings. We can serve up to 51 people at any given time, small staff of 5. And again, we work with individuals that are looking to move forward in their lives and kind of guide them along through that process, help them stay motivated and on point, and eventually back into independent living.
Now, I'm going to talk a lot more about this later as well, ask some questions, but is a big focus for you guys the idea of, like, it helps people keep people in the saddle when you're able to have that community focus as well, multiple people all helping each other out?
Absolutely. They lean on each other, they develop relationships, they encourage one another. So that is kind of foundational to the work that we do at Champ Homes.
All right, awesome. Now, as well, we wanted to focus mostly on this upcoming event for Earth Day. Can you just elaborate a little bit more for us?
Yeah, so this is the 4th year that we've been doing an Earth Day cleanup of Hyannis. It was originally born out of the fact that Champ Homes has been around, like I said, for over 30 years. And all of the folks that we've served, it's estimated to be north of 3,000 people, they've all had this opportunity because of a community that cares and a community that supports Champ Homes, both with independent donations, foundational support, local businesses getting behind the work that we do. And they wouldn't have that opportunity if it wasn't for all of that support. So this is a way that our champs can give back to the community in the form of getting out there. We also welcome the board of directors, staff, and other just other folks from the community that want to come along for Earth Day. And we go around, we clean up downtown Hyannis, several beaches, usually C Street Beach and Veterans and Calmus Beach, as well as the Ocean Street docks and many highly trafficked tourist destinations. So combined, we have usually between 50 and 60 volunteers. We get out there on Earth Day, which this year is Monday, the 22nd of April. And we do it for about 2-3 hours. Last year, we cleaned up about 4.5 cubic yards of trash, which is equivalent to somewhere between 30 and 40 large trash bags. So it's impactful. We get to do it right before the tourist season starts, so I think it really benefits local tourism, and it's one of those situations where you can easily create a win-win-win for everybody that's involved.
Yeah, actually, with the considering the timing, that ends up being a very effective time period to be doing that as well. For the economic, to look at things economic purely as maybe a bit of a brutal way to look at this is obviously a fantastic thing you guys are doing in general. But it is awesome that's also right before the tourist season, before we're getting a bunch of visitors, and unfortunately, we'll probably be seeing some of the trash coming and going again as we're going through the regular season. Just what happens. But that is awesome. It sounds like this has been a fantastic thing. So you said 4 years this has been going on.
This is the 4th, yes.
Okay. And have you been changing things over time? Have more people been coming as you've been doing it?
Yeah, each year we have a little bit more participation, and so we're able to extend the footprint a little bit. We've got a couple ideas about next year for our 5th year about how to make it even more impactful and coordinate a little bit more with the town, because one of the benefits that we hope to accomplish is to save the taxpayers and the town some money with the local DPW. And if we can kind of work with them to identify areas that are of particular need, or coordinate that we'll do this certain area and they can follow up behind us or whatever. But sometimes I do see that their crew is out there 2 weeks ahead of some of the locations that we're going to do.
I see.
So there's some redundancy that we can probably iron out in subsequent years.
Okay, very interesting. Be able to rent maybe rent a dump truck or something, be able to throw the bags right in.
Yeah, we'll figure out a way.
Some coordination. Have you considered an art installation? I know there's been a lot of beach cleanups that result in some wonderful examples of, like, the unfortunate litter thrown away on the beaches. Do you think that there could be some kind of outlet at some point for some of things you collect?
There probably could be, but I don't have an artistic bone in my body, so it wouldn't be through me.
We have people for that.
Yeah, we do have
We
people
had
for
in
that.
order to figure that out. That's really interesting. So as well, is there a lot of returning people that used to be Champ Homes, like people that have now moved on away from the services you guys provide that come back for this? Or?
Sometimes, yeah. I think that a lot of times, people use the opportunity that is Champ Homes to move forward in their lives, and sometimes they don't necessarily want to look back on that chapter.
Understandable.
And so we don't have a great deal of connective tissue with those that have moved on from the program. They're out doing wonderful things in the community, and so we don't have a lot of participation from that standpoint. But what we do have is a lot of repeat participation with local businesses that get behind the work that we do through sponsorships, and many of them have actually opened the opportunity to their employees and encouraged their employees to come and participate, which has been wonderful. So between that and a great relationship with St. John Paul High School, I think that they have 14 or 15 students that have already signed up to donate their time on that day as well. So.
Wow, yeah, that is awesome. I mean, we have Elizabeth Werfbane, who comes in from the Hyannis Business Improvement District on occasion as well. She really highlights the whole Hyannis community as well, and there's a bit of a trickle-down effect essentially to the outskirts of Hyannis and then the community at large. So it's really interesting to see you guys kind of building those ties. Do you feel like it's also made Champ Homes a little bit more integrated into the community in terms? I
do, and I think it's kind of distinguished our folks from the overall homeless epidemic that we're all experiencing. Our folks that are at Champ Homes, they've bought into what we're doing, and they want to move forward in their lives, and they are taking this opportunity to do just that. And so it's an important distinction, because along with going to Champ Homes, we have built a lot of relationships with local employers, and that creates opportunity for our folks while they're at Champ Homes potentially. And then also a lot of relationships with homeowners and landlords and so forth. And so when they have a tenant that moves out, we have some landlords that actually proactively call Champ Homes and say, hey, do you have anybody that's looking to move on, that's ready to move on? And we're sometimes able to pair those two people together. So the more opportunity that we can create and the better light we can shine upon our people, the better for everybody.
Mm-hmm. That is fantastic, especially considering we just finished up various stories every week, it feels, about the affordable housing crisis that we're experiencing. So I can only imagine for somebody who's coming right out of services for Champ Homes, they're maybe not quite on their feet yet. So it is fantastic news to hear. Great to have that networking that you guys have. It is.
It's important. It's important for us to network not only with local landlords and so forth, but other agencies, other human service organizations, for us to know what resources are out there for our champs while they're with us, and for the other organizations to know the work that we do, so we can all be working together on behalf of those we serve. Mm-hmm. So that's something that we're going to be working on in the next 6 months or so. We do it periodically. We'll kind of do a tour of local human service organizations and just try to develop those relationships a little bit more. It's been some time since we've done it, and we're due again.
I understand. I update the books every now and then. Yeah. So as well, this isn't the only event that you guys are doing. We kind of talked a little bit off microphone before. You said that you have some stuff upcoming for later this year. Do you want to highlight what's in the future for you as well?
Sure. So we are one of the beneficiaries of Second Summer Cycle, which is in its second year. So it's a bike ride. There's 3 different lengths. One leaves from Mashpee, goes up to P-Town, one from Sandwich, and one from Orleans, I believe it is. So there's a distance for everybody, theoretically. And I believe there are 18 to 20 local beneficiaries for the Second Summer Cycle, Champ Homes being one of them. So we're looking for riders that get behind the work that we do to help raise some money for the organization. So that is on Sunday, September the 15th. And then in early October, we have a comedy show as well. And this will be the 3rd year that we're doing a comedy show. We haven't quite picked the venue yet, but we've worked with a comedy troupe to supply local but professional comedians to come, and that's another great fundraiser for the organization. So that'll be in early October.
Wow, that's really interesting. I actually was unaware of the comedy troupe thing. That's very interesting. I won't hold you to any of those dates. Obviously, we're pretty far out. I'm surprised you're able to remember them all off the top of your head. It's of course mid-April, but that is really interesting. Of course, as well with the distances available for the bike. Hopefully, they have a very, very short one for people like myself who are winded easily. But that is awesome. I think it also kind of is a testament to what you were mentioning earlier about getting the name out there and being able to connect with other organizations and just kind of being in the community. That is really cool and interesting. For a moment with the comedy troupe, I thought you meant that there was going to be some people from Champ Homes that are currently in the services that are part of the comedy troupe as well. But
well, we got some funny people, but I don't know if they're selling tickets just yet. So,
my best wishes to them. Comedy is a very good excellent way to kind of an excellent skill to develop. But that's some awesome stuff going on with that you guys are available for now. I don't want to be very mercenary, but there is a marketing angle for every nonprofit on Cape Cod and all sorts of organizations. So do you think it's really important to kind of have these multiple events throughout the year just to kind of maintain like the eyes on you, because otherwise people don't know who to call? Like, how does that factor into when you're how much of that is part of your services that you guys are providing, thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that is kind of an ancillary benefit of it. We have 3 different events that kind of tap into various markets. And the Earth Day is really geared towards business sponsorships and some of the businesses that have supported us, while the comedy show is more individual tickets, and we market more towards our donors that have supported the organization for years and years. And then Second Summer Cycle is about building a team of people that'll hop on a bike and try to raise funds through perhaps people that aren't yet tied to the organization, and now we're drawing them in. So it's 3 very different events with different objectives, and I think that we approach them differently, certainly. But it's all about staying kind of top of mind with not only our existing donors, but we want folks to know that Champ Homes is there to serve their communities. So in addition to the agency tour that I was talking about a few minutes ago, I periodically will go out to churches too, churches and synagogues, and just kind of talk about the work that we do, because there's probably a parishioner that is in need at some point. And for somebody in the congregation to know that Champ Homes exists and that we can be a resource for the community, that person might be fast-tracked towards giving us a call and landing a safe place to stay and an opportunity to move forward in their lives that they otherwise wouldn't have. So there's many prongs that we take to trying to stay top of mind with our various audiences.
Yeah, that is excellent. I mean, it doesn't matter how good the services are you provide. If nobody knows that you exist, then you might as well not offer them. And also we have, I believe we have over 200 nonprofits on Cape Cod. I believe we have one of the highest densities of nonprofits across the nation. So really here, it's always interesting to ask those kinds of questions, because it's almost like an art form of like how like can we help the most people get the most bang for our buck, so as to say, with the services that we provide. So that is a lot of excellent stuff. We're about coming up on time now, but I just wanted to ask a little bit more about what is, for people who might have been hearing about this and are interested and maybe know somebody who needs some help, can you talk about how that process goes? Who can they contact? What are the first steps?
Sure. So you can pretty much find any resource that we offer on our website, which is champhomes.org. Including getting involved with Earth Day, and eventually, once we go live with the comedy show, we'll be directing people to ticket sales through the website as well. But in terms of being a resource for the community, you can go onto the website and figure out what the first steps are. Basically, the bottom line is give us a call. We'll tell you a little bit about the program, hear a little bit about where you are in your journey. And
gotta start somewhere.
Exactly, and then figure out whether we're a good supportive match, and if you're a good match for Champ, and if we're a good match for you. At which point, if that's the case, then we'd have the person come in for an interview, and we get to know them a little bit more intimately, and then move forward with the process and try to secure the safe housing as quickly as we possibly can, but in a responsible fashion to make sure that it is the right environment for the individual.
Just to put a positive spin on, I'm sure as well you have, I mean this in a positive way, do you have to like maybe redirect people sometime?
We do, often, yeah. Champ Homes isn't for everybody. Not everybody is ready, willing, and able to move forward at that time when they call us. And so we try to do a warm handoff whenever possible. We're not the type of organization that just says, no, sorry, this isn't going to work. It's, I'm sorry, this isn't going to work, but perhaps you should call X, Y, and Z. So, yes, far too often we're not the right fit for somebody. We're not staffed nights and weekends, and so people need to be able to live in this unique congregate environment safely and responsibly, and So we do take them through the intake process, and again, if it's not the right fit, we'll try to refer them elsewhere. But oftentimes it is the right fit, and we move forward. We place them. They come and live at Champ Homes, and sometimes it's for a month. Sometimes it's for a couple years. Oftentimes it's in between. The average stay is about 1.25 years right now,
Okay.
And then they're able to move forward. Last year in 2023, we had 30 people move on from our program, and 27 of them secured long-term sustainable housing. So 90% in this housing market, I'll take that all day. So people are capitalizing on the opportunity that's provided for them and taking it seriously and moving forward. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, this is all with we're having this conversation with the omnipresent affordable housing crisis that we're dealing with right now. You have 30 years that you've been providing for this this sector, essentially, of Cape Cod. And now, I don't know how long you specifically yourself have been with Champ Homes, but do you have data? Are we dealing with a bit of a harsher scenario right now in recent years than previous for the 3 decades that Champ Homes has been around?
Yeah, I can't really speak to the first 26 years or so of the organization's history. I've been there for 6 years. And while there's been, kind of a lack of inventory for all 6 years, it does seem like it's just getting worse and worse. I know that there are initiatives out there. I know that there are people that are heavily invested in trying to change that, and a lot of organizations working together and trying to address the situation. But I mean, there are decades of inactivity that have led us to this point, and we need to do something. We need to do it fast. I, again, can't really speak to what it looked like 20 years ago, but I do know that it's an obstacle now, and it does create a lot of difficulties for our folks to be able to land housing. But we had 27 successfully move on last year, so something's going right.
Yeah, doing a good job. So as well, 6 years. That tells me that unfortunately you were right, or maybe fortunately, you were here right with COVID as well. So you got 2 years under your belt, and then that hit. Is that what I'm kind of hearing?
Yeah, that was an experience.
Trial by fire here
Yeah.
on Cape Cod. But so that is interesting. So I imagine that was you've come out the other side, and hopefully you've come out with a lot more tools under your tool belt because of COVID. Do you think that's the case?
I do. I think we had to pivot, as did everybody. Everybody had to kind of redefine how they do their work, and we were no different. We didn't have the luxury of working remotely or doing any. No, we were there and serving our folks. We had a terrible outbreak early on, April 2nd of 2020. We had 15 people that were identified as having COVID in a house of 22, and our staff stepped up. Really stepped up in a tremendous way, and we were all working 6-7 days a week, because everybody was quarantined at the time, so bringing people breakfast, lunch, and dinner to their doorsteps, getting them the personal needs so they could safely live with one another and try to stem the spread of the disease. So it was an interesting time. We've had to pivot a couple times since then, but we've got an incredible staff that really dedicated to our mission, and we found our way through.
Yeah, that is awesome, and congratulations to you as well as the staff for being able to kind of power through that and offer the services still that was necessary. We have, of course, things are doing better now. We have vaccines, and people have been reporting way less cases per day. I believe Cape Cod Healthcare reported its first day with no positive COVID tests, which is awesome news. So trying to see the silver linings, of course. But as well, so I'm assuming a lot of things have changed since then. Have you gone? Is there is digital useful for you guys in general, in terms of outreach and showing more? Was that something that you had to kind of build up that maybe wasn't there?
Like everybody else, we had to just kind of respond and tap into the different way of doing business. Mm-hmm. We still, like most people, we still do Zoom calls when we have to, but I much prefer a face-to-face meeting. And so I think that everybody's kind of had to sort through all of that. But we landed on our feet, and we're doing good work, and we move on.
Yeah, awesome news. So that's about everything that I wanted to touch on today, and about all the time that we have. Unfortunately, there's really more with the real closing of this is required to enforced by. But is there anything else you wanted to highlight for our listeners while I still have you?
No, just the fact that Champ Homes is there as a community resource. So if you know somebody who is struggling with housing instability, please have them contact us, whether it be through the website or by calling us at 508-771-0885. We'd love to be the answer to somebody landing safe and secure housing in a kind and compassionate manner.
All right, sounds good. And also, just one more time, that phone number, just because the nature of radio, a lot of people don't catch it the first time round.
Sure.
Totally understandable.
Grab a pen, everybody. 508-771-0885.
All right, awesome, Adam. Thank you very much for that. All right, so thank you, and have a great day. Thank you for joining me in studio.
Thank you.
I'm Goody Collane, and this has been Sunday Journal.